Hello, welcome to Everything I Have Made in 2025 Part 2, July to December. Here in this video, as like every other year, I will show you pictures and videos and give you little descriptions about all the things that I have been making. 2025 was my first year out of uni, out of art school, so it's been all about not having the support of the university and the teachers and the cohort and assignments to give me motivation, but still trying to make artworks and other sorts of projects. So the way I'm structuring this video, as you can see, you've got some pictures of volcanoes. We got Ruapehu, Mangere, and the Banks Peninsula, and that is because we've got a active, a dormant, and an extinct volcano. So I've separated my projects out into those categories of things that I'm working on still, things that I'm like, maybe I'll work on again in the future, I haven't quite found a resolution for it, and then things I'm just like, nah, that's not what we're going to keep doing, but I'll show you anyway, so it's like more of a realistic picture that, you know, sometimes you spend a lot of effort in things that never end up being anything at all. As well as that, I've also included some other artist-related things that I did this year. So I'm working on this video. It is phone footage of a police helicopter going circles above my house. And the footage looks really crusty-dusty because it's just done on my phone. Those police helicopters are filming down upon the city with infrared cameras and like fancy binoculars and all this tech to like get a really clear view about what's going on the ground so they can direct the police cars and stuff. Whereas my phone camera is kind of like the opposite of good tech. It's like really bad and you can barely see what's happening. And I think it could be like a kind of nice metaphor or something for like citizen power versus state power, or, you know, my camera versus their camera, the sort of tools that you can get access to as just an individual, regular citizen versus what the state can do. I'm going to project this onto the floor, so you're looking down at it, and I still haven't tested it, so I don't know whether it's a cool idea or not, because I haven't seen it on the ground yet, but I'm very excited, and you'll have to wait for the next video for me to show you the cool projector mount that I built myself in the start of January. So yeah, and then the next active project is still, it's, if you remember from last time, it's that clapping one with the Google search history. I've developed that further by reading that book, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, to sort of get a better understanding on what it is Google does with our data. You know, the more that they can get a clearer picture and the more they can know about someone, the more valuable it is as a to be able to sell ads to that person, because then you can make it more and more specific and targeted. And that relates to this artwork, because a lot of the things I'm searching are like very intimate and like kind of I'm going to Google for help, and they're sort of profiting off the moments of me like reaching out or whatever, which is kind of creepy. Well, it is creepy, yeah. So in terms of like practically what I have done on this project, I have filmed the green screen scene again, but with a fancier camera that I hired out. I also recorded some audio of me reading out the Google searches, and I recorded it at the St. Luke's Mall to get sort of the background noise, but then also it makes it more like a performance, because therefore I was having to walk around in public and say these things, and I thought the mall was appropriate because it's like, it's sort of putting those intimate, like being by myself moments into the marketplace, you know, where it actually is, because I guess Google's a kind of marketplace. And I haven't edited any of this together yet, so I actually don't know what it looks like. I had this idea of getting like CCTV footage, like live, except like obscuring all the cameras with this, how do you pronounce it, stipple light glass, in front of all of them. You can't see the faces, you can't see the number plates, you kind of can just see the pretty vibes. Almost looking like some sort of abstract painting or something of that glass. There's been a bunch of things that I've read to do with like art having been kind of blurry and obscure because of the way phones and advertising and AI sort of has this really like crispy, clear aesthetic about it. And it's almost like painting in particular has sort of like moved away from that of trying to make everything sort of perfect and crispy, and because it sort of can differentiate itself from the mainstream aesthetic, the lower to middle class aesthetic. You know, fine art is often about like what the elite people like in terms of taste. That's sort of why I was thinking about that glass. And the reason CCTV, I guess I have a bit of skepticism towards the effectiveness of it, or like who they serve, because of the times I've had my bike stolen. There were CCTV cameras pointed at it, and like they couldn't help me retrieve it in any way because I wasn't allowed to get the access to that footage or anything. Like, it's like, oh, those are there for like very specific people and very specific property. They're actually like not this like common thing for everyone. So I bought some CCTV cameras, and they were like really, really low res and hideous, and it just like it's kind of what's put this project into the dormant category, maybe a bit uninspired. But it'd be cool, like a live video artwork, like maybe filming the gallery or like set up or something. And then I have this performance, and I was sort of thinking of the performance artist Tay Ching Say. He did these like year-long artworks. For a whole year, he punched the clock like a work clock, like every hour for the whole year, which is crazy. And I have an interest on performances that you do over a really long amount of time incrementally for a few reasons. One is for just the way my life is structured of having like a full-time job. It's like I don't have these like massive blocks of time that I can spend on my artwork, and I was like, what if I could just do like tiny, like a few minutes every day, and it creates a large artwork. Another reason, in terms of trying to create positive habits in my life, it's really easy to complete a goal that you just have to do once, but it's really hard to consistently do something you really want over a long amount of time. And therefore a performance of trying to do that is like really challenging. I also think now that I'm not at uni, I don't have to make anything within a semester. Like, what if I make this performance that takes multiple years? Like, I can do that because I'm not restricted anymore by the time limit. Oh, what is this video I've made? It's just me performing a few stretches in my bedroom in my pajamas. It's like really tiny crop video because my room is a cupboard, and it's just sort of this routine of, I guess, trying to improve my body and it's the way it functions. Stretching has always been something I've felt like I'm terrible at, and maybe that's because I did dancing growing up and was very aware of what I couldn't do. I feel like Gen Z's quite obsessed with like self-improvement and like productivity and like trying to efficiently use all your time and stuff. Like, it kind of seems like I'm talking about that, maybe. It is in a way. This is wall to wall. I have a tiny room, like I said, and I was like, what if I make my way across it without touching both sides of the wall? If I just like do. So I stuck the camera in lots of places on the ceiling, which I think looks really bad because you don't quite get it blending out. Like, it would look, if I had a fisheye lens, like that would be the ideal, just like one shot. But I kind of had no reason for doing it. I just felt compelled one day. Then I was remembering this artwork. That black square in the middle of that grid is indicating the 2 days a week for those particular hours where she can work on her art practice. I kind of started like making my own little calendar artworks one evening. So yeah, that's dead, that artwork. And then for a show coming up, I tried to make an artwork that was like a version 2 of this painting I did a few years ago. But I just like, it felt very forced and not exciting, so there's like my first little prototype video and then I lost interest. After making this script and slideshow, I noticed that the theme between pretty much everything is that I make artwork that's like about evidence, like here's some like data or video, or like here's some proof of something. And the theme of embarrassment, when I show artwork, I always feel embarrassed anyway, no matter what it is. So I may as well just like go all in and make something that's like purposely embarrassing to me, because if I can do that, then when something that you're once ashamed of gets out in the open, it kind of helps diffuse or remove the taboo around it. Now, next category of artist-related things, but not art projects. I was in a group exhibition, yay, this year, and it was my video artwork that I made at the end of 2024 at art school. It was like my final project, called Exhibition. The video of me, like, in portrait, like, reacting to people criticizing my art. So this was in this show, along with other artists who went to the same art school as me, as well as New Zealand artists in this, like, special collection. So they had all of us students on this, like, TV, and then in the dark space on these, like, big screens, they had the Chartwell collection. And so, yes, I am glad that I have ticked that off. Yes, I've been in an exhibition in 2025. Thank goodness for that. Then I volunteered at this art gallery, Art Space Aotearoa. Yeah, I was there every second month, minding the gallery on a Saturday and like doing some other events and stuff. So that was really cool, and I got to meet a lot of artists who went to other art schools. It was really well organized, and I wasn't by myself, and the staff were also always willing to give us like references for job applications and just chatting to us about art world things and application writing, like giving us feedback on all that kind of stuff, which was like really cool that they were doing that. I recommend it to anyone else, any other artists in Auckland. You should go be a volunteer there. I continued on hosting crits, so those 3 dates are the dates that I had crits. So what happened is I messaged as many people I could think of, and they either brought along something they were working on, or if they weren't working on anything, they came along and gave really good feedback to the other artists. And that was very cool and positive, and I think everyone enjoyed it. And, you know, when you're at an art school, you probably spend a lot of time working alone and don't get a lot of opportunities to get feedback from other artists or artists outside your circle of friends. The groups that got together, like, most people didn't really know each other. They were just, like, people I had met from various, like, all different areas. So it was cool to, like, bring people who didn't know each other together and then talk about their work. So I will continue doing this year, even though, in all honesty, I actually really hate organizing these crits. I just, like, feel sick. I feel so anxious, like, in the run-up to it. I just, like, hosting stuff, like, yuck. And I'm just, like, not really confident facilitating. Like, I just want to stand back. I don't want to have to be, like, running things and telling people, like, oh, it's 15 minutes each. Like, yuck. Blech. I hate it so much. But I guess it's worth it, so I do it still. And then finally, looking out for the rights of artists. In September, when I was looking at this art competition, the Adam Portraiture Awards, I noticed that there was this clause in their terms and conditions that said, like, the portrait gallery will have the copyright to the winning artwork. And I'm just like, what? That's like a booby prize. Like, what do you mean losing your copyright to something you've made? That's so unusual. That doesn't really happen unless you're, like, working for a company to, like, not have your copyright of something you've made. So I didn't contact the competition about it. I went to Arts Makers Aotearoa. They're not a union, but they kind of do that arts rights stuff, like how much people should be getting paid for doing all this, this, and this, and this. So I emailed them because I was like, am I going crazy? Is this like right that they can do this? And they ended up getting in contact with Copyright Licensing New Zealand, and then those two organisations together wrote a letter, sent it to the competition, which was the Portrait Gallery in Wellington, asking to change the clause. And what happened? Boom, they changed the clause. And yeah, they were super willing to change it. So now it's not, the copyright is retained by the artist, and the New Zealand Portrait Gallery shall seek license from the artist in relation to the use of the portrait. So that's really cool. I'm really glad that I spotted that and did something about it rather than ignored it, because the art world in New Zealand is a small place, and it's not that hard for it to get to the person that needs to know. That's everything I've made at the end of 2025. I hope you enjoyed this video. Upcoming in 2026, it's going to get a bit juicy because now I have a full-time job, not a casual job. So I've got even less time to squeeze in trying to get my projects happening. But I do have one confirmed, one semi-confirmed exhibition happening, so that is exciting. Things are going, things are moving. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to see what you're making, if you're making anything cool. Okay, ka kite.